but he had to explain why he had left the Archieverse, because once you leave the Archieverse, you do get a lot of backlash from people. So I think that's what made him do this video. So let's listen to Lord in his own words, eh? Then I'll show you why this video was important to me to find.
Of YouTube. The internet, by and large, is not...
I'm just speeding this up just a little bit, too, by the way.
Not rainbows and sunshine. I know that. And I don't have a thin skin whatsoever. And this is not a personal...
That's what he was accusing of. He was being accused of having a thin skin. And at first, like I said, I thought that it was, Lord is really direct and in your face, but very truthful and very principled person. So he could come off the wrong way and also leave himself open to trolling, which I did.
Let me start by saying, because I saw this in the chat, and I want to be very clear about this. Someone said, this guy disliked Oisin already. To which my answer is, absolutely. By definition, I dislike people who spruik war profiteering brands that turn an easy profit on stolen valor for financial gain.
So he's talking about Zero West, and that was a really heavy topic because the first 3 watches they came out with, they used the World War II theme and pieces of the airplane that were used in the case back. So there was a lot of people that were had this narrative. I didn't care because I'm not a watch guy.
That much should be clear. Right? I like people who have a strong ethical backbone. I like people who have principles. And I like people who are accountable, first and foremost, to themselves. And that's the main principle that I live by. I have to be accountable to myself. I need to be at peace with myself. I need to be at peace with everything I do, all the decisions I take.
And I don't find this snowflake. This is actually how a real man acts. I mean, upfront, in your face, and he actually, this guy lives by what he says. It took him a very, very long time after he left Archie to monetize his channel. A lot of people thought that he was crazy to do it, but you know what? He stuck by his principles. He did. No matter how much he suffered, he did stick by his principles.
And I need to be able to have that peace of mind to fall asleep. And that's the secret to life, actually. It sounds very simple. It's very easy to say, very hard to implement. But you need to be at peace with yourself, and you need to be comfortable in your own skin. And I am absolutely comfortable in my own skin. That's why when you see weak people like Oisin, who constantly need their ego to be stroked, who constantly need to be affirmed, who constantly need people around themselves to kiss them up and blow smoke up their backside, get so hurt when someone actually takes them to task and starts calling me by all sorts of names already before this whole shit already started. Last time he was on AC3's stream and he was spruiking those Zero Worst brand watches, I called him out. I took him to task and I said, enough of the smelting and this and that. Tell us something horological about this watch. Tell us why we should plunk down 3,000-4,000 pounds to get one of these watches. He had absolutely nothing to say. And you know what he did? He took a note of that and he wanted to lash out at me the first chance he got. Well, tonight he got his chance, right? Because once again, he brought up this poem, right? Dylan Thomas's poem. Beautiful poem. The Welsh poet, as you might know, from whom...
See, thing you got to understand is that the Lord is not a Blondie. Lord is not a Diego. Lord is not a Buckley. Lord is not, a Reaper. Lord is not Dirk Diggler. Lord doesn't start screaming and yelling in your face. He took on Oisin intellectually. Okay, no swear words, no yelling, no suck my dick, whiskey dick, no need for insults. He'll take him on intellectually, and Lord is an intellectual. And boy, Oisin didn't like that. So what does Oisin do? Tries to make somebody less than human, marginalize them. He couldn't do it with Lord.
Bob Dylan, the legendary Bob Dylan, got his name, right? And it was actually the only good thing that Oisin did tonight, because Mike, the snake, was dealing with illness in his family, and he was talking about his uncle, who was actually in the hospital very recently and might end up going back to the hospital quite soon. And the very last thing that uncle said to Mike the Snake.
Lord always stuck up for Mike the Snake. Mike the Snake was his right-hand guy when Archie was gone, and they were doing the shows on their own, night after night after night.
Was, I'm not going down without a fight. Right, so beautiful. And Oisin brought up the poem, which is titled, Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words have forked no lightning day. Do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight. You see, Oisin's not going to be able to pull that shtick like he does on the other people. Like, name me the first 3 presidents of the United States. And he's not going to be able to fucking battle this guy on an intellectual basis, because this guy doesn't play that game. And you can see right now what he's doing. Real man, different kind of man, highly intelligent man, very principled man. And learn too late.
This is not the kind of guy that OC could jump on and use some fancy marketing words, and this guy will see right through that bullshit, and he did.
On its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Brave man near death, who see with blinding sight. Blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. This is how you read that poem. I asked him the minute he jumped on the Tim Wright stream. I said, couldn't you have read that poem with the same kind of tone and the same kind of effort you put into those Zero West commercials? And his response was that I should keep standing in my matzo ball soup. I repeat, I called him out on spruiking shitter watches that profit off this entire scheme of war profiteering. This is what it is. Stolen Valor is the wrong name for it. Zero Worst is a war profiteering watch brand that pushes shitters on the community with an entire marketing campaign behind it.
Yeah, he was pushing these fucking Zero Worst watches very hard on Archie's channel, on Tim's channel, and he made those videos, and Lord wasn't having any of it. I mean, hey, this is, watch guys against watch guys. This is, I guess you don't critique a watch guy's video. So Lord made the mistake of giving his opinion, and Oisin lashed out, but Oisin couldn't fucking go on an intellectual level with Lord, so he decided to go, gutter with the matzo ball soup shit, and he called him a zealot, if I remember correctly. Like I said, this is 11 months ago, guys.
And of course, people who stand to gain financial benefit from them are the same people who cannot respond to it logically, who cannot defend their case, who have absolutely nothing to say to defend themselves. And he has the guts, he has the chutzpah to get back at me saying I should stand in my matzo ball soup. Wow, that's great. That's great. I never thought I would have to defend a food item that I didn't even like. That's really funny. Let me tell you, that just tells you, Oisin, the kind of person you are and the kind of character or lack of character that comes from your side. Because you look at my face.
You got OG Baby Girl.
OG Baby Girl. We love OG Baby Girl. She's the best. Without OG Baby Girl, this would have failed a long time ago. Thank you, OG Baby Girl. $10. Channel member. Ocean be run off YouTube. He's revolting to the core. Thank you, OG Baby Girl.
Thank you, OBG.
OBG.
So like I said, the first victim of Oisin's anti-Semitism was right here, Lord. He's not a victim because he stood up and fucking, on YouTube, that's what happens. This guy at that time had a 60,000 subscriber channel, and he went to the London Watch Show, and he was welcomed with open arms. They paid for everything. So he was he was an Archieverse celebrity. And like I said, he was regularly going on Archie's channel. Then he had, he would go on Tim's channel. And like I said, a lot of times, Lord would call the guy out on his bullshit. Lord wasn't starstruck by him. Lord knew exactly what he was, a grifter, a con guy. And the exact same thing. And I'll show you a little bit of it, but the exact same thing this guy is doing by Tim. He started it 11 months ago on Archie's channel.
You said, hey, this guy's Jewish. Maybe I can insult him by mentioning some random food item that I know of. I wasn't insulted personally, but I saw that you were an anti-Semite. And I called you out on it. And I told you that was an anti-Semitic thing to say. That doesn't say anything about you yet. We all have these sorts of prejudices. We can all make these sorts of remarks. Maybe you want to apologize. Maybe you want to take back what you have just said. I gave him the chance to redeem himself because everyone deserves a second chance. Even the worst of us deserve a second chance. What did he do instead? When someone asked him a question about Irish history, and he was talking about Northern Ireland, and said that's technically Britain and it's occupied territory, perhaps our friend here can say something about that. What does that mean? Two things. It means two things. Let me explain. One, his assumption is once again that I am somehow advocating for illegal occupation of territory. And two, I do so because I'm a Jew. People like Oisin are the biggest disgrace for progressive pro-Palestinian politics. I am pro-Palestinian and I am Jewish. And I'm proud of being who I am and taking that political position. No one is going to slander me and my people for mindlessly thinking a certain way because of who we are. We're just as diverse as any other group of people. We are just as diverse as any other people. We can eat matzo ball soup, we can eat couscous, we can eat, I don't know, fried rice, we can eat anything that we're just like everyone else, right? The guy supposedly tried to clean up his mess by saying, oh, he likes everyone, and he has some of my best friends, and I like Woody Allen and this and that. Are you kidding me? You're gonna use the...
He made a joke out of it like he did the other night with hey, where's all my Jewish boys here on the panel? Yep. He made a joke out of it. That's his MO.
Yep.
When he gets called out by a strong person, and Lord was on the panel when he called him out. He made a joke out of it. He didn't apologize. He didn't acknowledge. He didn't do shit.
The worst kind of excuses in the rule book to somehow clean up the mess you made rather than manning up to apologize and to say that, hey, maybe I spoke out of turn. Maybe I should take a step back and think twice about what I've said. Point about this whole drama, which is the wrong word, actually, to call it drama. This is not drama for drama's sake. I have tonight stood up for my people, stood up for my community, like my father has done, like my grandfather has done before him, and like many people have done or couldn't do. But tonight, I stood up, and I was there right until the end, even though he continued doubling down on those remarks, and he tried to bully me for 2 hours straight on a live stream, even though he said, oh, I will just stay for 20 minutes. He tried to bully me for 2 hours straight. I was there. I held my chin up, and I responded to him each time he spoke out of turn. I exposed him each time he spoke. And you know what the last thing he said? He said that, oh, now that he said this, he said these supposed anti-Semitic remarks, right? Again, we let the public judge. The record is there. And believe me, I have it recorded. He said, ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, will come after him. Fair enough. Fair enough. And then he said, maybe the Mossad will come after him as well. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? What does that mean?
Means he made a joke out of it like he always does. We know that.
Yep.
And I turned around once again and said, I will take this into my hands personally. And he has my word. And here's my word. I will continue calling out this sort of vicious sleight of hand, a quick dig here and there, a jab here and there, some anti-Semitic stereotype thrown here and there. I will keep calling it out. And especially in the case of this person, who clearly has no ethical ground to stand on. If he did, first and foremost, he wouldn't be, once again, screw king, share watches that have nothing chronological about them, except for a second-rate Selita movement, and are based on an entire scheme of war profiteering. So we know already that this person has no ethical compass, that this person has no backbone, and that this person, Oisin, let's clarify, once again, is just for sale. Right? And maybe he thought he was facing someone like him, that he could ply me maybe for a round of drinks, and maybe he could entice me with inviting me to Venice. Let us make peace. Let's be friends. Let's sing kumbaya. I'm sorry your feelings got hurt. It's not about my feelings. It's not about my feelings. If it were about my ego, I'll drop it. I'm not gonna play with it. But this is not about me. This is not about me. I will make sure to call him out on his lack of ethics and on his consistent anti-Semitism that he tries to clean up by saying, 1, I'm a fan of Woody Allen. 2, I have a lot of Jewish friends. 3, and this is the most offensive one to me once again, that he's pro-Palestinian. That doesn't mean anything. What are these people thinking? Do they think that aggressing a random person online with a litany of anti-Semitic stereotypes adds up to a political program? Do you think that when you spew out your anti-Semitism, that is doing actually any good to Palestinians who live on the occupied territories, who suffer on a daily basis from the illegal expansion of settlements, who have been bearing the brunt of the violence in the Middle East for the last, how long has it been? Almost 75 years now. You think, Oisin, you spewing out some random anti-Semitic remarks at some random guy.
What he's trying to say is Oisin is nothing but a virtue signaler.
Yep.
He masks his bullshit by what you saw the other night. Where's all my Jewish boys on the panel?
Yep.
Is it typical libtard? There's nobody more racist than libtard Democrats. Nobody's more racist than that. Why do you think that all libtard fucking cities are the most segregated cities in all the United States? And then they hide behind their virtue signaling.
You have just seen on a computer screen. You think that adds up to a political program? You think that makes you pro-Palestinian? You're a joke. You are a self-indulgent excuse. And let me say one last thing. As someone who actually knows a thing about philosophy, don't be so self-righteous. There is nothing philosophical about your videos, because you have said this. I'm taking you to task on this as well. There's nothing philosophical about your videos, and your videos can only be considered artistic because of the low quality videos that people like me produce, right? The fact that you can produce better quality videos about watches with macro shots than a guy who sits in the corner of his apartment and just talks into his laptop camera. If you think that makes you an artist, by all means, by all means. I think at the end of the day, you're just a miserable little guy who is missing the spotlight that you so desperately craved in your middling musical career.